What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and I'm here to give you the most comprehensive NBA player prop preview you are going to see. Now, if it's your first time watching this channel, I do this every single night. I share my screen, we go through outlier, I share my thoughts, we talk about what's good, what isn't, form lines, all that jazz, and I do all this to give you all the information that you need to make the best bets possible. We got back to winning days yesterday, 6-3 on single bets, hit a high value single bet as well. Let's quickly run through it. We had Donovan Mitchell. We cashed his first quarter assists. Kristaps Porzingis predicted a comeback, and he did. He bounced back very strong, hitting his points line and his first quarter point line. Jaylen Brown rebounds, no sweat. LeBron James crushed his over in points as predicted, facing elimination. And Michael Porter Jr. covered his rebounds plus assists. So a lot of those pretty much covered with ease. Not a perfect day. We still had some losing ones. Evan Mobley, under 8.5 rebounds. I probably got to avoid some of these unders because it's not working for me. Read that one wrong. The game went the way I thought it would, but Mobley got a lot more rebounds and Jarrett Allen got a lot less than I thought. So that was a loss. Plus, I had two plays on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that game, and it did not go as predicted. So those were my only losses for the day. So back to winning ways. We'll get back into it. Jump into my screen now. Share an outlier for those of you who didn't know. 7-day free trial for outliers in the link below. And those of you who've been tailing for quite some time, I've turned almost 80 units profit since I switched to outlier in February. So it's been cashing really well for me. I encourage you guys to check it out. Free 7-day trial in the link below. Now, let's go. So kicking it off with the Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this game starts at 3 a.m. my time. So hopefully I'll wake up to some green for this one. We do have Mitchell Robinson and Joel Embiid as game time decisions. No chance that Joel Embiid misses this game. Philly, 4.5-point favorites. Total points line is at 209. So as we did in the last video, I'm not going to go through every single player. I'm just really going to focus in on the ones that I think have a chance to cash. And I'm not going to spend too much time going through unders because that hasn't been working for me either. So the first thing I do when I jump into outlier is to get the odds right. So if I'm going to play a straight bet, I'd probably be looking at around odds no worse than 130. If you do some line shopping, you can probably find something better. Now, outlier filters this for us, tells us the best hit rates over recent times, and it also gives us some head-to-head data as well. But we'll go through this game. We'll see what we can find. Let's start with Jalen Brunson, though. So Jalen Brunson had an amazing game 3, and let's talk about why. So he had 39 points and 13 assists. I'll just jump to his PRA so we can see his whole log. 13 assists, 2 boards, and 39 points. So the points and assists probably the better way to look at it. Let's take a look. 39 points, 13 assists. So far this series, 22 points and 7 assists, and 24 points and 6 assists. So the 2 games at home didn't necessarily produce for Jalen Brunson, and it's not because he wasn't trying. Had a lot of minutes, took a lot of shots. Check out his shot attempts so far this series, 26, 29, and 27. We're waiting for the day where he bounced back and shot a higher percentage. That came through in that last game, and he scored 39 points. Now, I personally, without him having to look at any of the numbers, I would have been leaning the over for his points anyway. But the assist might give us a better edge. So his points line is at 31.5, which is quite high, but it's not high for someone shooting the ball almost 30 times per game. So what happened in that last game? Well, the Knicks were on the road, and on the road, traditionally, your star players are the ones that tend to carry even more. At home, your role players they stand up and they tend to play a little bit better. Jalen Brunson, to cover his points prop, it's one that I do like. But as I did in my last video, I'm not just looking for reasons why I like them. You got to look for reasons not to bet it. So I like his points prop because he's going to get minutes. The minutes are there. He's going to get shots up because he always fucking does. His usage rate is through the roof. He's on the road where star players need to carry. And he just had a great game against Philly. And the Knicks still lost. So if Philly were going to make any adjustments to slow Jalen Brunson down, they would have done it already. So I don't think there's any more adjustments Philly can make. The only thing that this comes down to, can Jalen Brunson make these shots? So the things that you need to consider for this pick, if you're going to ride it, you got to think about, is Jalen Brunson still going to shoot at a high percentage? The other risk here is there a blowout risk for Philly. Can Philly blow out the New York Knicks in this game and reduce Jalen Brunson's minutes and opportunities? And the other thing you need to think about are any of the role players for the New York Knicks. Do you think that there's a chance that they go off? Because if he gets a lot of points from some of his boys, then he may not have to put up a lot of these. Now, I'm not overly concerned about that because even in other games, we've seen Josh Hart go off, Miles McBride go off, DiVincenzo go off. And despite that, Jalen Brunson is still putting up the lion's share of shots. So I think the shots are still going to be there. So for me, I like the points prop, to be honest. His assist prop, I've seen some people looking at that. Basically, he had 13 in that last game. 7.5 is the line. He's covered that once in the 3 games. The difference between the assists and the points prop, with the assists, you need a few things to happen. Not only do you need Jalen Brunson to make the pass, but you also need the person catching the ball to make the shot. Whereas with points, we're really just relying on Jalen Brunson to shoot. So I do like the points prop a little bit better. I do think there's a good chance he goes over his assist prop, but for me, the points prop looks like the way to go for Jalen Brunson. Who else do we have? Isaiah Hartenstein. He's been cashing his points plus assist line quite well. So you can see the line's at 11.5. He's cashed in 8 out of his last 10. So far this series, he's cashed in 2 out of the 3. The game that he didn't cash, Mitchell Robinson took a lot of his minutes. So if we look at his minutes, you can see in the last 2 games, definitely playing a lot more minutes, 30 and 26 minutes played for Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, the assist prop is an interesting one. I wonder what his assist line is. 2.5, right? So his line of assists is 2.5. He's had 3, 4, and 1. His points line is 8.5, and he had 6, 14, and 14. So, look, getting his points line at minus 105, I think that's pretty good. His assists, points plus assists, is also at minus 105. So the question is, do you think the assists are going to help, or will it not? So I think one way to look at it is if we look at his games. So he's cashed his points plus assist line in 13 of his last 20 games. 14.4 is an average. He's cashed his points line in 12 of his last 20, 11 points as an average. So what that tells me is that his assists are actually helping him cover, well, one extra game where he wouldn't have cashed his points line alone, and he needs assist to get it done. So yeah, the points plus assist could be a wave here. There's also the chance that he covers this in points alone. So that's one other thing to think about. Now, why does this bet lose if it does? We've got Mitchell Robinson. So could Mitchell Robinson potentially steal some minutes from Isaiah Hartenstein? Probably not. He probably won't steal minutes because Joel Embiid's looking to foul both of them out anyway. But Mitchell Robinson, game time decision in this one. I'm just checking a quick article right now. I'll share it with you. And check out the headline on this. Mitchell Robinson misses practice in question for game 4. He's been playing limited minutes since he came back. Game 1, he played 30 minutes, which is crucial. He's had an ankle injury that's bothered him all series. He ended up playing, but he didn't play well in game 3 because of that injury. Right. The main reason he also played 12 minutes was Joel Embiid grabbing and pulling Robertson by the surgically repaired ankle. So that was the flagrant foul that Joel Embiid done. I forgot that. That was Mitchell Robinson's cook knee. So, yeah, Robinson didn't practice. No status for tomorrow. So Precious Achua might get some minutes. So what that tells me, Isaiah Hartenstein's not going to be losing minutes to Mitchell Robinson in this game. So, that throws that out the window. So let's now look at this. Isaiah Hartenstein, I'll put that on my short list for now because I don't mind it. Because now the Mitchell Robinson thing's not there. Precious Achua is not going to see massive game time. He's way too small to handle Joel Embiid. He'll get his time, don't get me wrong. They've got to burn some fouls somehow. Now, what are the other risks in here? What if Isaiah Hartenstein gets into foul trouble? So let's have a look at his fouls. In this series, he's had 3, 4, and 5 fouls. So he hasn't fouled out, which is a positive thing. But he's playing, in the games he's cashed 30 to 25 minutes. So let's just say he might face some foul trouble. But if we look at the games, his last 20 games where he played between 20 and 30 minutes, 31 minutes, he's covered in 12 out of his last 20 games. In head-to-head matchups, Isaiah Hartenstein's only been cashing this in the playoffs. In the past against Philly, not too much success happening. So wonder what's been going on lately. So in the playoffs, we can see his shot volume is high. 8 and 12 shots. 88% from the field in that first game. Took 12 shots in the second game. Shot 58% from the field. Now, just looking at the season when he's played this volume of minutes, he's only averaging 5.5 attempts, but he does shoot 65% from the field. So I think part of this is going to come from them throwing Joel Embiid into as many pick and rolls as possible. You can't just have him coasting on defense. You want to try to sap him as much as possible. So Isaiah Hartenstein, got to be risky with it. Now, I'm curious to see what his rebound line looks like. 7.5 looking at these last few games, he's had 7, 8, and 4 rebounds. I guess it's difficult to get rebounds when Joel Embiid is slamming his shoulders into the thick of your chest. So, yeah, not a big fan of that. But the points and assists for Isaiah Hartenstein, I can definitely see that happening. I think the risk in this is similar to Brunson's. What if there's a blowout? Now, you don't want to take 2 bets on the same side, well, on the wrong side of a blowout. That's my only concern. So, I'll see. I'll look into that further and I'll decide how I'm going to play this game. But yeah, Einstein, not going too bad. What are some other ones? So outliers saying that Bogdanovic has covered this line very well. Points and assists, 7.5. So he has cashed this in 2 out of the 3 games this series. First game on the road, though, only had 5 points and 1 assist. His minutes aren't there, 11 and 13 minutes. So I don't want to be fucking around with that. In the past, his minutes were a lot higher. So yeah, Bogdanovic has covered that line well, but nah, we ain't playing. We got Tobias Harris. Now, I don't want to touch Tobias Harris. I bet on Tobias Harris rebounds in the last game. It blew up in my face. Tyrese Maxey in the first quarter. Let's take a look at this. 5.5 points for Tyrese Maxey. So he's cashed this in 8 of his last 10. 7 consecutive games where he's cashed over 5.5 points. He's cashed it in all 3 games this series. 7, 9, and 7, meaning he's hitting at least 1 3-pointer in there. So technically, you need to make 3 buckets. Back at home, we got Joel Embiid that we need to think about. But Joel Embiid scores a lot of points in the first quarter. Even if he scores 10 to 12, right? The 76 would probably score 20 to 25 points. They got to get it from somewhere else. So Tyrese Maxey could be that guy. Back at home as well. In head-to-head matchups, check this out. 6 consecutive games now against the New York Knicks. Tyrese Maxey's covered his points line in the first quarter. So it looks like it's with or without Embiid. Let's just look at the games with Embiid. You can see Tyrese Maxey has covered in 4 consecutive games. So the 3 games so far in the playoffs and their last regular season game, Tyrese Maxey absolutely smashed his points prop in the first quarter. Looking at his minutes, we've got 10, 8.5, and 12 minutes in the first quarter. And, I think one of these games, he scored the first two buckets of the game, and they were both 3-pointers. So it would have been an easy cash. So I don't hate this play for Tyrese Maxey. All right, sorry, let's do this. Why does it lose? So Tyrese Maxey can lose this if he misses his first couple of shots. If he misses the first 3 shots, he may slow his roll down a little bit. So that's always a risk with any first quarter prop anyway. So that's not very specific to this game. If Joel Embiid scores 20 points in the first quarter, that is a risk as well. And there's obviously foul trouble. If he manages to pick up 2 quick fouls, then this could be in the dumpster fire. So just looking at his last 20 games. So it's really just been a recent thing and a New York Knicks thing where how he's been hitting this. So I'll put that on my maybe list because I want to see what Joel Embiid's first quarter number looks like. All right. There's Tyrese Maxey. You might as well look at his points line whilst we're here. So his line's at 25.5, had 2 30-point games in New York, only scored 25 in that last game because Joel Embiid happened to score 50. So in that last game, Maxey still took 21 shots though, 9 for 21, 3 from 8 from downtown, and he got to the line 4 times. So still a pretty strong showing. Now, I doubt Joel Embiid scores 50 again, which, if Embiid only had scored 40 or if he didn't get all those buckets, there's a chance that Tyrese Maxey does cover in this one. So you've got to factor in the outlier in the previous game and how it could impact others. I'm not completely against this play, to be honest. I think Maxey can have a strong scoring game. I think I just need to look at Joel Embiid before I make any decisions on that. So where is that big bastard? Joel Embiid. All right, let's take a look. So his first quarter points line is at 10. He's cashed this in 2 or 3 games. The two road games in New York he cashed. 6 points in the last game, only had played 8.9 minutes. It didn't stop him from having a big night, though. 50 points in that game, which is wild. I think he had 2 silly fouls in this game. So he suffered a bit of foul trouble. I wouldn't take his first quarter points line, that's for sure. Now, looking at his total points line, I'm not questioning if we've seen an overreaction in this one. Total points line for Joel Embiid is 34.5. 50 in the last game, 34 and 29 in the 2 games before that. Now, what did he do to score this 50? He played 40 minutes. He only shot the ball 19 times. He made 5 out of 7 threes, and he shot 19 out of 21 free throws. Now, yeah, I think it's a really hard bet to make on Joel Embiid for this one. Those refs be crazy. And I don't know, is he going to get the same number of calls? Is he going to get to the line this much? He's not going to shoot that well from 3 again in this game. So yeah, I'd be pretty hesitant to play that points prop for Joel Embiid. What else do we have? Rebounds prop 10.5. He's gone under in 3 consecutive games so far this series, 8, 10, and 8, which is crazy. In head-to-head matchups against the Knicks, 2 out of his last 7 games, he's cashed this rebound line on. Yeah, 10.5. Oh, I'm not overly keen on that either. And let's have a look at his assist prop. 5.5. He's cashing 3 of his last 7 against the Knicks. 2 out of 3 so far this series. So yeah, I'm neither here nor there, to be honest, on the assist prop. But what could be interesting now, I'm trying to avoid unders, but he's lined at 49.5 for a PRA, which, yeah, I'm not brave enough to take that either. So, all right. Embiid's lines are a little bit high. I've got to tell you, I'm not overly keen on those. He's perfectly capable, yes, but I don't know if he can cash it. So, that Tyrese Maxey points prop, honestly, I think that's a better prop to take than Joel Embiid's. Even though he's a second option, he'll still take at least 20 shots in this game. You got volume. We just need high percentages, right? So who else is there in this game that we think could pop off? Let me filter by the last 5 because that's going to capture a lot of the recent games. So we've got Jalen rebounds and assists. So that's cashed in all 3 games this series. All right, look at this, lads. So he's cashed this in 5 consecutive games, averaging 14 rebounds and assists. In head-to-head matchups, he's cashed his rebounds and assists in 9 out of his last 11 games. Now, he only had 2 rebounds in that last game, but had 13 assists as well. 8 and 7 rebounds in the games prior. So, Jalen Brunson, rebounds and assists. The challenge with rebounds the good thing about rebounds and assists for Brunson is we know he's going to play at least 40 minutes. So, the opportunity is going to be there. But again, I don't want to be stuck betting one side of this whole thing again. I think the other option, let me see how bad this looks. What's the PRA look like? 42.5. Geez, he hasn't hit that well against the 76ers. Well, I guess he's struggled to score points a lot of the times. So that's very interesting. His rebounds and assists have an amazing hit rate against the 76ers, but I may have been in love with the shot attempts in the last game. Shot attempts are still going to be there, but we don't know if he can continue, if he's going to shoot that percentage, right? He could easily fall back to shooting low as the 30s. And if he does shoot in the 30s, this rebounds and assist opportunity might be there. So, right. Okay. I might have spoken myself into this one. So Jalen Brunson, we are going to have because you bet whatever you want to bet on. I'm just here showing you the numbers, but I am going to bet on a Jalen Brunson prop today. It's either going to be points or it's going to be rebounds and assists. I don't want to make the same mistake I made with SGA, and betting both, because if that fucks up, I'm going to be a very unhappy man. But let's take a look at this. Let's see what's going on here. We've got, what are some other good players that are popping up here? Bogey, Tobias, get out of here. Kelly Oubre, I think he scored quite well in that last game. We saw an improvement. So this is looking at his points and assists. Let me just look at his points prop. So his line's at 10.5. He scored 15 points. First home game for the season, 38. He shot 6 from 8 in that game, though. 75% is a ridiculously high percentage. If we look at the volume, though, not too different from the first 2 games, where he shot only 7 attempts. 7 and then 8 attempts in that last game, shot a very high percentage. 2 from 4 from deep, 1 from 2 from the line. So, yeah, I could not bet on Kelly Oubre over 10.5 points if he's only taking 7 to 8 shots a game. Even if he hits on 50% of those, you're looking at 8 points where you need 3-pointers and free throws. Yeah, I'm not too sure. If we look at his numbers in head-to-head matchups, right, even though there's a lot of green here, his volume is very different. But what I'm looking at here is the percentage. So in these games, 44% from the field. And if he's taking 8 shots, he's giving us 3-point-something made baskets, right? And even if all of those made baskets were 3-pointers, he's still not covering this points line on that volume and percentage. So, yeah, I would probably lean to the under on Kelly Oubre points, but I don't want to take unders, to be honest. I'm not feeling it. But rebounds. So I'm trying to find out who's a good rebounding option in this game, because we know Embiid's not grabbing a whole lot of boards. Partly why I took Tobias Harris in the last game. Kelly Oubre got a lot of rebounds in the last game, but he didn't get those in the last 2. So, yeah, I think who's going to get the boards for the Philadelphia 76ers? If you can find that, man, there's tremendous value in it, because you could really ladder that play up, because somebody's got to get them. But at the same time, I think we've seen Tyrese Maxey get some boards. I must be making that up in my head. Let's check it out. Tyrese Maxey Last 5 rebounds. Okay, it was one game where he got a lot of rebounds. So it's not him. He's not that guy. I could just look at the box score, actually. What am I doing? All right, checking the box score out from that last game. And who the hell was snaking all these rebounds for Philly? So Kelly Oubre had 7, Tobias had 5, Embiid had 8, Maxey only had 4, Nick Batum had 6 off the bench, but no one really went crazy on them. So they only had 36 boards. Well, I guess not many rebounds. Embiid's getting to the damn free throw line a whole lot, so that must suck. Jalen Brunson got to the line 12 times as well, so takes a bit of the flow out of the game, which is one of the risks you got to think about in the playoffs. The rebound numbers may not be there. So looks like there's no one that we can really take for rebounds with much confidence, to be honest, unless we see some really low-ass lines. But what are some other things that stand out looking at this box score? We saw Tobias Harris still sucks. Embiid obviously got to the line a lot. Kyle Lowry had 9 points. That was one of my leans, actually. I was leaning on his points plus assists. But then I also was leaning on his rebounds. I ultimately took his rebounds and it blew up in my face. But the points and assists could be the wave there for Lowry. The problem is he's only taking 5 shots, so the volume's not necessarily there. So that seems a bit risky. And we are gambling at the end of the day, but why take even more risks, right? We also saw Campaign come off the bench, give him solid 15 minutes, 3 from 4 from deep, scored 11 points. So that's always a risk if you're taking the points for one of the role players here for the 76ers. So, okay. There's nothing really from Philly that I like based off the last game's performance that I'd be interested in betting on. Well, Nicholas Batum is playing good minutes, right? 29 minutes. I wonder what Batum's looking like. What are his lines at? Nick Batum. I don't think I've said his name all year until this playoff series. So his points line's at 4.5. He's gone from 3, 6, and 4 in the playoffs. So the points line ain't too much shit happening there. His assist prop at 1.5, 1, 1, and 2. So nothing crazy there. His rebound line's at 4.5. All right, this could be a play for us. It could be. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be. So far in this series, he's had rebound totals of 2, 5, and 6. In terms of minutes, we saw 25, 32, and then 29 minutes for Nick Batum. Now I'm just going to open up the popcorn machine to see what types of minutes was Nick Batum getting. All right. So this is the popcorn machine. I'm just checking to see when he checks into the game. So Nick Batum, he got in 4 minutes left in the first quarter, and then he played half of the second quarter pretty much. So that's a decent run in the first half. And then this is the good part. He played all 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. So they're trusting him down to the wire. Last 3 minutes in the third, and then everything in the fourth. So yeah, Nick Batum, I don't think so the minutes thing has got nothing to do with garbage time blowouts. Solid part of the rotation, and he's part of the closing lineup. Someone who wasn't part of the closing lineup was Tobias Harris. So Nicholas Batum taking a bit of Harris minutes there, which I think everyone's happy about. So Nicholas Batum rebounds at plus money, plus 4.5. Could be a play. I'm just going to check the box score because I want to see who he's defending. Who's Nick Batum chasing around? Once upon a time, he was a great defender. Probably at his age now. Maybe not so much. Let's take a look at this. So Nick Batum, yeah, all right. So he's chasing Jalen Brunson around for the majority of the time. So a lot of his man-to-man defense is on Jalen Brunson. So that puts a little bit of a question mark on it. How are you supposed to get rebounds if you're just trying to stop Jalen Brunson from scoring the whole time? But there's a lot of pick and rolls, switches, all that type of stuff that occurs. I actually defended Jalen Brunson quite well. Brunson had 4 points, 5 assists when defended by him. Went 2 from 8 from the field. So, yeah, I'm not too sure anymore. That Jalen Brunson thing might have wigged me out. But Nick Batum, if his rebounds go on, then look, it was a good look. And we might look at it in the next one. So I'm going to put it on my short list, actually. I'll leave it on there just in case as a nice little reminder. But Nick Batum could be a play. Who else is there? So there's probably no one else from the 76ers I'm overly keen on. Outlier, let's check out the head-to-head numbers. Who's been killing it in head-to-head stats? G not getting steals. DiVincenzo assists, perhaps? No, that doesn't seem like fun at all. Turnovers for Oubre. Kyle Lowry's points and assists. I don't like that. Miles McBride off the bench on the road. I don't think so. We keep on. Actually, I want to look at Josh Hart because in the last game, his rebound line was at 12.5, and I was like, fuck that. That's too high for me. I'm not going near that. Then he finished on 6 rebounds. So I'd be pretty keen to see what we have in this one. So his PRA 30.5. So he's cashed his PRA in 3 consecutive games. These 20-point games from Josh Hart is starting to concern me because I haven't bet it yet because I keep thinking it's a fluke, but then it keeps happening. So his points line is moving up slowly, but it's at 14.5 now. 22, 21, and 20 points in those 3 games against Philly. He took 12, 16, and 16 shot attempts, and he's made 4 3-pointers in every single game. So I think for Josh Hart, what I'm going to do is because I don't want to just take the straight bet and then for it to burn me, right? I'm thinking of just taking Josh Hart 20 points as a single bet. All right, obviously betting a little bit less depending on what the odds are, and then taking Josh Hart for 4 3-pointers as a single bet, just because I'm sick that I keep missing this wave and it's sitting there in front of me and I never take it. So I'm just having a look at one of the sports books to see what we can get out of it. So Josh Hart for 20 points is plus 400, right? And then for him to make 4 3-pointers plus 600. So what I'm going to do is I'll take both of those as single bets, probably put 25% of what I'd normally play, and then just take Josh Hart for high value singles only. So, and not bet his single prop lines. I don't trust that enough, but the guy has been producing. I like the 3-point prop a little bit more, but yeah, we'll take a look at both. We'll bet a little bit on each, like 0.25 units or something, and then we'll get on our way. So let me just take a note of that. All right. So that's my thoughts around the Josh Hart play. Actually, let me check his rebound line. Where's that at? So his rebound line in this game is now at 11.5. So it's dropped down by 1 after one slow game. And look, he can definitely get over it. But again, it's not the rebound thing. It's just the high volume of free throws. With all these free throws, it's limiting the rebound opportunities. And Jalen Brunson and Joel Embiid get into the line a lot. I think it makes it quite difficult. So I'm not overly keen on a Josh Hart thing. I'm not going to play the under because I'm not guaranteeing that the free throw stuff happens. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this game. So there's a few things I need to consider at the moment. We've obviously got the Josh Hart value plays. Jalen Brunson, I don't know if I'm going points or his rebounds plus assists, or do I look at PRA, right? So there's a potential for that as well. We've got Hardenstein points and assists, Maxey first quarter points, and Nick Batum rebounds. So an extensive list for me to dive through, and we'll see which ones I can eliminate from there. But let's jump into the next game. This one's at 5 a.m. my time, so I'll wake up and this will just be finishing. But it's the Los Angeles Clippers versus Dallas Mavericks. Kawhi Leonard still a game time decision. Luka Doncic a game time decision in this one, and so is Tim Hardaway Jr. So Luka, what did he do? Got his knee banged up by Russell Westbrook. He is questionable. I'm going to do a quick little Google search on my man Luka because he can move some lines like crazy. And yeah, Dallas are up 2-1, but does he have to play? I'm not too sure what's going on here. All right, what does this article say? He's on the injury report. We know that. Right knee soreness. Jason Kidd offered limited details about his condition. He looked good in film and shooting free throws. So I'm going to stay in my lane and let the people who put injury reports out do that. So he didn't say nothing really. Uncertainty. What did Lucas say? Not good. I felt it before I hit the knee. It's pretty stiff right now, but we'll know more tomorrow. You know me. I'll try to go anyway. Okay. Luka may play, but that might limit his effectiveness. I don't know if he was hurt. He played 40 minutes. We got his minutes down tonight. Understand we lean on him to do a lot for us, offensive and defensively. All right. Okay. Luka on the injury report ain't one of those LeBron and AD type injury report things. Oops. Stop sharing my screen. Yeah. So I think we just need to factor in there is an injured Luka coming into this game. So what that tells me, what my thought process is, they'll be relying more on Kyrie. Even if Luka does play, I think we could see a bigger game from Kyrie. It didn't happen in the last game, but I'd be happy to run my man back. Kawhi, he's still kind of banged up anyway, so there's no real massive changes for the Clippers. But yeah, there's probably a lot more stuff that Kyrie could be doing and potentially even PJ Washington. Or Luka can play and be an absolute beast, right? So I'm just checking out the box score from the previous game, see if we can find a shortcut instead of previewing every single bloke that was on there. But let's take a look at it. Firstly, the Clippers. They only scored 90 points in that last game. Zubac was a man. We took his over in points. I didn't touch his rebounds, thank goodness, because his points cash with these rebounds went under. I'm thinking about taking his points again because there's not too much the Mavs can do to stop him down there. And when the Clippers can't get buckets, it's easy to just dump it in, really. What else did we see? James Harden had 21 points, 5 from 8 from 3. So my first thought would be to take his under in three-pointers made because he doesn't necessarily do this in back-to-back games. Russell Westbrook was terrible and angry. My God, he was bad. I bet on him too, so I was feeling a bit of that rage. I would have punched PJ Washington too. Norm Powell had a great game off the bench, 21 points, 4 from 6 from range, 7 from 11. And Paul George, he sucked, 7 points, 3 from 11, 1 from 6 from downtown, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. And Kawhi Leonard had 9 points, 9 rebounds in only 24 minutes. So I'm going to do a quick Google search on Kawhi Leonard and see if there's any news that we need to be aware of before we start diving in to figure out where my man at. Sports Illustrated, what have you guys said about him? Injury update. He's just still dealing with inflammation and the swelling. So I'm monitoring it. Got treatment last night, got treatment this morning, and he'll continue to get more treatment. So inflammation and still swelling for Kawhi Leonard, which is not good. Lou had previously expressed hope that Leonard's minutes could increase in Game 3. He admitted on Saturday that he knew into the game that he'd be kept around 25 minutes. When asked if he'd have restrictions in Game 4, he said to be determined. It's always going to be a restriction. It's always going to be making sure we do right by him until he's 100%. So he's still fucked up. He's still not going to get the same types of minutes. So I'm very interested to see what his lines are because I could be tempted to take it under here on Kawhi Leonard. I did like his rebounds in the last game. And I don't know if he cashed it, actually. Let me double check that. Kawhi Leonard, yeah, he cashed his rebounds with ease. His line was like 5.5 or something. And he had 9 rebounds. I didn't take that. So the rebound prop could be there. The points prop is what I'd be thinking to take the under on. I also honestly don't mind the under in PG, but let's get into the trends. We'll talk a bit more about it. But that's my thoughts on these Clippers. Zoo, definitely, I like the over in his points. Fade those other blokes. Actually, Dallas. Let's talk about Dallas real quick, and then we'll jump back into outlier. We saw Derek Jones Jr. score 11 points. Pretty decent. PJ Washington only had 10 points, 5 boards. But the one thing I do want to look into is his steals and blocks because he had 3 steals and 1 block in that last game. I want to see how that's been trending. Daniel Gafford, bad back and all, still covered his lines, so I won't be touching anything on him. Kyrie had a pretty poor shooting night, 47% from the field, 3 from 7 from deep, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. So the assists is not something I really planned for. But yeah, only had 21 points, but that's all that was needed. Luka was terrible. 28% from the field, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists in his 40 minutes. 3 from 14 from deep. So I'm not interested in playing anything on Luka. Derek Lively was dunking everything. He had 13 points and 2 boards. Josh Green off the bench had 8 points and 5 rebounds. So he covered both of his lines with ease. I just wonder whether one will have his prop lines available at the moment, and he should continue to get these minutes. Tim Hardaway Jr., yeah, he's really unlikely to play. So I think we could bet this game, assuming he's not going to. But yeah, let's jump back into outlier and see what type of juice that we can find. So Daniel Gafford, not touching you, my boy, but let's start with Zoo because I already know that I'm going to take this bet. So his PRA is 23.5. He's cashed out in all 3 games this series. He's only getting, he had 1 assist, 0 assists. So unless his assist line 0.1. So I wouldn't even bother putting that in. His rebound line could be a good one, but I think the points one just makes the most sense. His line's at 12.5. He's had 20, 13, and 19. So he's cashed in all 3 games against the Clippers. Win or lose, Zoo's getting buckets. So he's still playing 30. He's playing 33 minutes a night, 17, 12, and 11 shot attempts, and a couple of free throws to go with it. So even if we get some sort of regression from Zubac in this one, the line's still only at 12.5. So I think they go to him early, establish the bigs. That's how most teams play basketball these days anyway. So I think the only way that Zoo loses this is if he gets off to a really bad start. If he gets off to a really bad start, probably limits his opportunities in the game moving forward. So I think that's my only concern with the points prop, but that concern is always there for taking Zoo's points prop. Now his rebound line's at 10.5. He's cashed in 2 of his last 3, had only 8 boards in that last game. So he still played the same number of minutes, just didn't get the boards, unfortunately. So, yeah, I wasn't overconfident in taking his rebounds in the line, so I didn't touch it at all. On the like, if we look at the season, for example, Zoo's averaging 9.3 rebounds per game. Now, I do understand he's playing 33 minutes a night. So if we filter in the games where he plays 28 to 34 minutes, Zoo's averaging 10.6 rebounds in those games. 52% hit rate, though. So if he's going to rebound, Bloke's going to rebound well. But if he's not, he's falling well under it. So I did like the points prop a lot better for Zoo. And I think I'm just going to run that back and stick to it because I felt good about it when I took that pick, and I felt even better when it came through. Who else we got? Kawhi Leonard. So let's break his shit down. Points prop. Where's his points prop at? 19.5 points. The bloke, he's still injured. So he scored 15 points, then 9 points in the 2 games so far this series. Now, I've had knee problems throughout my amateur sporting career, and I still have knee problems now. And when your knee's all jacked up and swelling, it's hard to go. And then if it had recovered, every time you train or play, it inflames again and it swells again, and it doesn't get any better. And even though they're treating him around the clock, there hasn't been that many days, 3 days max rest he's had since that last game? Probably less, 2 days. So, yeah, I'm thinking the under for Kawhi Leonard's points right now. I must be losing my mind. Now, the hit rates historically, yeah, they're going to be terrible for taking the under here for Kawhi Leonard, under 20.5 points. But, yeah, my man's fucked up. 35 minutes in the first game, scored 15 points. Restricted down to 25 minutes in the second game, only scored 9. And in that game, only took 7 shots. Now, I don't think he's going to come out and lack aggression and only take 7 shots. But even if he gets up to 15 shot attempts, you've got to shoot a very high percentage. And you can see it here. He's not getting to the free throw line either. So that aggressiveness in there is not great. He hasn't made a three-pointer yet in this series. So, and look, in order to shoot those threes, you've got to have your legs. And Kawhi doesn't have his legs under him, unfortunately. So, I don't know. I tried to bet. I bet on 2 people in the last game who apparently went into the last set of games, I think, going into injuries. Who did I have? I had Daniel Gafford because his back was all fucked up and he went over. I took Chris Middleton unders because his ankle was sprained, apparently, and he scored 40 points. So I'm thinking if I bet Kawhi under 19.5 points, does he go out there and score 30? Probably not, right? And if you are someone who believes that, oh, I'm cursed thing, get real, mate. It's not you. You're not cursed. You just make bad decisions. Now, would it be a bad decision if I took Kawhi Leonard under 19.5 points? Potentially. So what I'm thinking is, because I do think he goes under the points prop, I liked his rebound prop in the last game. The line hasn't moved. It's still 5.5, right? So he had 7 rebounds in game 1. He had 9 rebounds in game 2, despite only playing 25 minutes, which is wild. Yeah, I like the over for this. So what I'm thinking of doing, right? I'll take Kawhi Leonard's rebound line as the straight bet, and then take his rebounds and points as a parlay. I might even reduce the points line, to be honest, to get a little bit crazy with it, because the rebound line I like. Because on Bet365, you can do like points high, points low type of stuff. So let me just muck around with it real quick. I don't know why I'm using my phone. I'm sitting on a computer with multiple screens. So I'm logging into Bet365 now. Let me share this screen with you all. All right, so into Bet365. So what I'm thinking of doing is this for Kawhi Leonard. So if I think that his knee's banged up and he's not going to be as aggressive, or he has a minutes restriction, so his points line's at 19.5. I can do 2 things. Now it looks like I have to log in. All right. So same game. We've got Kawhi Leonard points. We take the under 19.5, and the rebounds for Kawhi Leonard. Where's the 5.5? Here it is. Okay. So that $3.75 for those in the US is plus $2.75 for a parlay. Right? That could be one way that we play it. Another way that I could play this is to get aggressive with my opinion and how I think this game's going to go. And we take Kawhi Leonard under 15 points. That alone is already plus 300. And then we go to player milestones, and then we take Kawhi Leonard for 7 rebounds. Now it's $9, and that's plus 800 for those of you in the US. So instead of just one straight bet, I could play both of these a lot less than what I normally would, and we could get a bigger payday out of it. So, yeah, that's where my thought goes when I think of Kawhi Leonard and how I play this day out. Or I could just put 2 units on his rebounds and fuck the hell off. But then if he goes under his points line and everything the way I'm thinking it happens, be kicking myself for not taking the bet. But yeah, we'll see where I land with that one. But enough about Kawhi Leonard. Let's get into somebody else. Well, let's get into James Harden, shall we? His points line is 18.5. He's covered this in all 3 games, 28, 22, and 21 points. He's him and Zubac are the only reliable, consistent scorers so far this series. Now, 43 minutes. His shot attempts aren't that high, though. He's getting to the free throw line somewhat in this series. But yeah, I get it. That last game, he didn't get to the free throw line very well. Only had 3 attempts at the line. He did make 5 out of 8 3-pointers, though. And that's what took him over the line. And I feel like it's unlikely that he does that back to back. So I can't help but lean to the under on this one for James Harden. But the risk is if he's not making threes, he'll probably be aggressive trying to get to the basket, and that free throw merchant could come out. I'm interested in looking at this is what I'm talking about. Well, he's under 3.5 3-pointers. Looks like a good play, but it's at minus 148, which is not terrific. And you can't, I don't have any sports book that give me alternate 3-point lines where I can take the under. I can only have alternate lines where I take the over. So I do like James Harden under 3.5 3-pointers. I actually like it at under 2.5, but that's plus 162 if you can get that on your sports book. I think that's a great play, but I don't think he goes back to back shooting this many 3-pointers. So the under 3.5, that's definitely got my interest, but I don't think I can get it at good odds. It could be a parlay piece, perhaps. I'm not too sure. What else is there? His assist prop, 7.5. He's cashed out of the 3 games, 8, and then 5 assists in the last one. I don't love it because a lot of the people he's got to pass to aren't making buckets. He can only rely on Zoo and Powell at the moment. I'm not man enough to take the under on that, though, being completely honest with you. Who else is there? So we've done Kawhi, Zoo's done, Harden's done. Give me PG. Where's Paul George? Paul George. All right. Now let's talk about it. What does it start with his points? His line's at 20.5. He's cashed this in 6 of his last 10. But so far this series, 22, 22, then 7 points against Dallas in that last game. So he was pretty poor. 30 minutes. His minutes were slightly down. His shot percentage was terrible. His shot attempts were down 2. He didn't shoot well from 3. So, yeah, I guess he's had one really bad scoring game. So I don't know if you can fade a guy after one bad scoring game. So I'm not game enough for that. Rebound-wise, 4.5, 6, 2, and then 5. So, yeah, a little bit inconsistent there. There's nothing that makes me want to take it. Nothing that makes me want to take the under either. And then looking at his assist prop, he had a pretty strong assist game last game with 5. His line's at 3.5. So he went from 3, 4, and then up to 5. PG assists. Yeah, I'm not loving that either. I'd probably lean to the over if I had to, but I'm not loving that too much, to be honest, for Paul George. I think that's pretty much it. We've got Norm Powell. Let's have a look at Norm Powell. So there's no lines on Norm Powell, and that's probably because Kawhi Leonard's a game time decision. So you probably have to check that close to the game. Let's get into some of these Mavericks then, shall we? Let's start with Luka. Now, I'm not going to be betting on Luka, but I'm showing this preview for you guys. So let's do his points prop first. 33.5. He's gone under in all 3 games against the Clippers so far this series. 33, 32, then 22 points. Still aggressive, 26, 26, and 25. The minute he gets his field goal percentage right, he's going over. He's shooting a lot of 3-pointers, 12, 14, and 14, but his shot percentage is quite poor. And free throw-wise, probably not getting to the line as much as he would like, but he's shooting them at a pretty good clip. Now, for Luka, I think there's going to be a game where he finally puts it all together and he pops off. Similar to Brunson, there's going to be a game where they make these shots and he's going to cover this line. This game coming into it under an injury cloud, not one that I'd be willing to take him on. I'm not confident in taking the under either. Looking at his rebounds, 9.5 boards, 13, 6, and 10. Again, that injury has me questioning all lines for Luka. So I'm not keen on that, but yeah, the hit rate's pretty good. In head-to-head matches, 5 of his last 9 against the Clippers. And then his assist prop, that's at 9.5 as it usually is. He's gone under in all 3 games against the Clippers. So yeah, I'm not loving Luka, an injured Luka, to be honest, not loving that. But my casual betting mind takes me to Kyrie Irving. And it could be the bias of me liking Kyrie Irving as a basketball player, perhaps, but let's talk about it. So his points line's at 23.5. He had 31 in the first game, 23, and then 21 in the last 2 games. So the last 2 games, the Mavs won, and Kyrie didn't have to score too much, which is pretty wild. Now, field goal attempts, 18, 18, and 17. So the volume is there. Minutes-wise, 39, 42, 37. The minutes are there. Three-point attempts are definitely there, and so is the efficiency, 50, 50, and 43% from downtown. Free throws, not getting there as much, but as I said, it's probably not required. Luka under an injury cloud, what does that mean? Does that mean Kyrie gets more opportunities? He takes more shots? Yeah, potentially. I think that's a good chance. And at 23.5, he's covered this line at a 59% rate this season. He's also covered this line in 4 of 6 games against the Clippers. So he's not afraid to get popping against LA. These last 2 games have been lower scoring games, though. So you got to factor that in when looking at a lot of these numbers. What's the total points line projected for this one? It's 208. So, yeah, it's a low-scoring game. Kyrie more than capable of covering 23.5. But if there's a chance your team's only going to score 100 points, can you get a quarter of those points is the question. And I'm not too sure if you can. So the points line, I don't hate it, don't love it. Assists, his line's at 4.5. Now, his assists as of late have been pretty poor. That last game, he did have 6 assists, though. So I don't know if this is trending in. Is it 6 assists and is that a rarity? I'm not too sure. I think you got to factor in, yeah, they're at home, so maybe these Mavs role players are shooting a little bit better, perhaps. I know Kyrie threw a couple of lobs to Lively or Gafford, so there's that version where he can get a lot of assists that way. And if Luka is banged up, then yeah, Kyrie might be the chief ball handler in this game. So yeah, I don't hate that, to be honest, honestly. But the points plus assists could be a play, perhaps. 28.5. Again, that cash in the first game went under in the next 2. 28.5. So even the last game where we had 6 assists wasn't enough to cover this. So I think the points prop really has a big bearing on it. Rebound-wise, his line's at 4.5. Only had the 4 boards in the last game. That last game was a low-scoring game like the others, so it's not like the chances weren't there. The ball just clearly wasn't bouncing in his direction because Kyrie Irving, not an active rebounder, I would say. So I do think Kyrie does take a bigger workload on this offense. I just don't know if it definitely translates into more stats. So someone else I wanted to look into is PJ Washington. PJ Washington was ready to throw hands that last game. A little bit comical. For those of you in the watch party, you'd know. I think I was shadowboxing on there. It got me hyped. But let's talk about PJ Washington. His point sign's at 11.5. He's gone for 11, 18, and then down to 10. 34 minutes in that last game, despite being ejected. 10 shots in every game. 3-pointers, 0 for 4 in the last one. And this is the challenge with PJ Washington. He gets hot and cold real quick. So it's like he's like eating an ice cream in a sauna. And like he's hot. His cold streaks don't last as long, and neither does the hot streaks. Like it's strange. So points prop, I'm not willing to go there. The rebound prop is one I'm interested in, but also his steals and blocks. Be keen to see how that looks because I did get to watch that whole Mavs Clippers game, and I was like, this man's pretty good on defense. He's going to work. So this is rebounds 7, 6, and then 5. So trending down, I get that, but the rebounds are going to be there to be had in a lower scoring game like this. Yeah, I don't love the rebound prop, to be honest. So let's jump into the steals plus blocks. 2.5. Oh, here we go. So he's covered his steals plus blocks line in all 3 games against the Clippers so far, which is pretty interesting. 2 steals and a block, then 2 blocks and a steal, then 3 steals and 1 block. Forcing a lot of turnovers and shutting shit down, PJ Washington. So my question is, would you be willing to take this with just 3 games worth of supporting data? On the season, he only hit this at a 32% rate. Over his last 20 games, he's hit this 50% of the time. So if you did take this bet, it's because in 3 games against the Clippers in these playoffs, he's covered it every single time. So, yeah. And look, it could be the playoff intensity, right? Playoff intensity, more turnovers. The refs don't call as many fouls. PJ Washington, probably the best defender that the Mavs have. Yeah, it could be a good play. I'm just checking my leans at the moment to see. I don't have any leans on any Mavs players at the minute, so this could be the one. And at the same time, you don't necessarily have to take it, but I'm pretty close to taking this. So I'll add it to my list of leans. I'll go over once again before I submit my picks. But PJ Washington, if you do see it on the board, that's the reason why. And lastly, is there anybody else of interest? No. All right, cool. Are we good? Let's bounce on to the next one. It's the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. So Dame Lillard, listed as a game time decision, but he ain't playing. Same as Giannis. Don't think he's going to play. Indiana, 9.5-point favorites here. Chris Middleton's a game time decision, but he's likely to play. Pacers at full strength. So shit about to get wild up in here. The Bucks, valiant in defeat in the last game, came back quite well, but ultimately fell short. Chris Middleton, pain in the ass, Chris Middleton. He just wouldn't piss off. He was making some big buckets, old fish face. That was such a painful watch too. But I'm just opening the box score from the last game to see what did we notice. What are the key call-outs here? There's a few that are on my mind, and they're on my mind because a lot of these were leans that I chose not to take. And let's review. Let's go through the box score. So this is the Bucks. Middleton, 42 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Absolute beast of a game. I thought he'd only shoot the ball 14 times, and he doubled that. Good on him. We had Bobby, 17 points, 18 rebounds. He was an absolute beast on the boards. We had Brook Lopez with 14 points and only 4 rebounds. I did take his under 5.5 rebounds, and even though I went to OT, I still cashed in. Not to say it wasn't sweaty or not, but Brook Lopez under on boards, cashed in the way I thought it would. Dame had 28 points and 8 assists before getting injured. Didn't shoot the ball very well. Who else do we have? We had Pat Beverly. Now I want to call out Pat Beverly. He got fouled out in this game. But I took his. I wanted to take under 9.5 rebounds and assists in the last game, and I ultimately chose to fade Chris Middleton instead, and that cashed in with ease. He only had 2 boards and 1 assist. Now I wouldn't take that play now because if there's no Dame in there, Pat Bev probably gets a lot of rebounds and a lot of assists. What else stands out to me? The Bucks bench didn't do nothing. They got more fouls than points, that Bucks bench. I'm having a look at it here. The Milwaukee Bucks bench, having a look, they scored 6 points and they had 8 fouls. So no production there from their bench. That might change a little bit with Dame out of the lineup. Now looking at the Pacers, what do we see? Naismith, 8 boards and 13 points. So taking his under in rebounds, popular bet from a lot of people I saw, and they'd be unhappy. Pascal finally crashed down to earth, 17 points, and I did see that coming. He had 9 rebounds, but that was under his rebound line as well. So he's fallen off a cliff. We might get some sensible lines for him. Miles Turner was a beast, 29 points and 9 boards. That was one of the leans that I had as well. Nemhard, he didn't make my radar, but he scored 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Halliburton, 18 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds in a monster game. I'm sure we see a movement in his lines. And another person who played quite well was Obi Toppin. 15 points and 6 boards, man. Now, I got to tell you, before I put my bets out, I actually put a bet down on Obi Toppin. And then for some reason, I must have told myself that I was trying to be sensible and I was trying to eliminate some bets. I actually cashed it out, and he cashed those lines. So I'd be interested to see where Obi Toppin is sitting. TJ McConnell, he only had 7 points. His line was at 7.5. That was a very, very popular pick by a lot of people. Didn't come home. So there's a lot of things that we're going to look at here. I'm pretty keen for this game, but for the Bucks, we do have to fuck around with some filters because no Dame and no Giannis. It's limited sample size, but we'll see what we can find. So we'll start with Chris Middleton. Firstly, this series, I'm looking at his points and assists at the minute. Let me get the PRA up so we can look at everything. So obviously, that last game, he was a monster. 42, 10, and 5. The 2 games prior, 15, 5, and 6, 23, 10, and 4. So his PRA is up to 40.5, and fair enough. No Giannis, no Dame. Most likely. So Middleton's only played 1 game without Giannis and Dame this season, and he got 18, 7, and 6. So that was against OKC. He only shot the ball 10 times, believe it or not, and only played 23 minutes. So we have no sample size to see how Chris Middleton's going to play without those dudes. Me personally, I don't like betting on Chris Middleton full stop, but his points line's at 26.5 now, which I think is crazy. I think this is finally the game we see Bobby Portis go off. So Bobby Portis, I feel, is going to benefit the most because he's only shooting the ball about 15 times this playoffs, and I was expecting a lot more without Giannis. But Dame's been taking a whole lot of shots. So with no Dame, we should see some big Bobby Portis action. Chris Middleton at 26.5. He's hit this line in 2 of 58 games so far this season. And I get it. One of them was his last game. And another game was when the Bucks poured on 144 points against Brooklyn. But I get there's no Giannis. I get there's probably no Dame. But yeah, I just you have no data to watch here on how he scores over 26.5. So I'm going to pass on that. His assist line's at 6.5, 31% hit rate this season. But he's only played one game without Dame and Giannis. So that's a waste. I remember that now. 6.5. He's gone on. Yeah, he's going to get the opportunities. I just can't tell you whether these cash or not, right? Because the Pacers could blow the Bucks out too. So for Chris Middleton, I can find a lot of reasons not to bet on him. So I'm not going to bet on him, but best of luck if you decide to do it. Here's my boy Obi Toppin. So I'll get to him in a minute. I just want to get through a lot of these Bucks players first. Who else? Who we got here? Bobby Portis. So his rebounds and assist lines at 14.5 for some reason. So that means his rebound line is probably higher. Let's check it out. So his points line is up to 19.5 without Dame. So far this series, 15, 14, and 17 points in head-to-head matchups against the Pacers. He's got under in 10 straight. But now we got Bobby without Giannis and Dame. No Giannis, no Dame. That's only happened once this season. But if we look at his last 10 games without them, so this goes into last year, yeah, it's not the most promising start, to be honest. So you can't really rely on data. You've got to really get a gut feel for this. It's like how's Bobby Portis going to get the ball? I think Pat Bev, honestly, my casual take, because you're not going to see data without Giannis and Dame because it's only happened once this year. So the sample size is current squad. But my casual brain makes me think that Pat Bev's going to have a high usage rate here. And we've seen in the past, even when he was with Philly, when Embiid and Maxey were out, Pat Bev was racking up the stats. So he could be an interesting one. But Bobby Portis at 19.5, he should see more shots, that's for sure. He played 43 minutes in that last game, which is pretty wild. But only had 15 shots, but no Dame. There's an extra 20 shots to go around. So I don't hate the play for Bobby Portis. If we look at his rebound line, so that's gone up to 12.5. He did have an 18 rebound game, but keeping in mind he played 13 minutes more than he normally would. I don't know if he gets that type of action in this game, especially if the Pacers blow these guys out. So yeah, not loving what I'm seeing for the Bobby Portis lines. Who else have we got? Let's get to Pat Bev. I'm interested to see what his lines are at. So his points line is at 9.5. He did score 11 points in that last game somehow. 5 and 5 in the prior two games. Now, if both of those guys are out, you can assume Beverly's going to play at least 35 to 40 minutes in this game, I think. He has to. So if we filter his games out this season where Pat Bev plays at least 35 minutes, and this is when he was back in Philly, right? And this is when I was saying, when he played minutes when he was in Philly, he was surprisingly producing. So he's covered this line in 6 of 8 games where he plays at least 35 minutes. The 2 games he went under were the first 2 games of this playoff series. And in those games, he got the minutes, but he didn't get the shots. Only 5 field goal attempts in those games. But obviously Dame is the number one option, and Fishbase took 29 shots. And Chris Middleton could take 20 to 25 shots in this game. I'm not saying that won't happen, but Beverly at over 9.5 points, you got to get buckets somehow, right? Potential on there. What's his assist line? His assist line's only at 5.5. Okay. Let's muck around with this. What'd I say? 35 minutes? All right. So Pat Bev, 35 minutes this season. Let's go to 34. Give me a bigger sample size. So when playing at least 34 minutes, his cash is line in 4 of his last 8. It looks like when he joined Milwaukee, he's only had one strong game where he got these types of minutes where he covered his assist line. So this could be rather difficult. Rebound line at 5.5. I think we're going to see the same type of shit. Yeah, 3 out of his last 8 games when he gets that type of volume and minutes. So I'm not going to take the Pat Beverly play, but I think in my casual mind, like he can have a strong game. I'm like thinking 12 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, like something like that for Pat Bev. I'm not going to though, because there are a lot of reasons why it won't hit, and me trying to be a little bit cautious after a few losing days, I'm going to choose to avoid it. Let's have a look at Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, his point line's at 14.5. His cash once this series. There's not a big difference maker without Giannis. Like nothing changes for Brook Lopez, but I'm interested to see what about the games without Dame. The Dame's only missed 8 games this season, and Brook Lopez covered this line in only 2 of them. So that's not great. If we look at his rebound numbers, though, 5.5 boards. So he's gone under his rebound line in 6 consecutive games against the Pacers. The under's at minus 130 now, though, so we kind of lost our value. I think that was close to plus money last time, I believe. But yeah, at minus 130, I wouldn't play this, but I do think he goes under his rebounds line, that's for sure. And anybody else for these Bucks? No, nothing. All right, let's talk about these Pacers then. I want to start with Tyrese Halliburton. Now, just use an outlier to filter through what's been popping for Tyrese Halliburton. First quarter of assists been great. He's covered that in 4 out of his last 5 games, so that could be a good look. Same as he's over 11.5 assists, so we could run some assist plays for Tyrese Halliburton and under 1.5 steals, but the odds on that are shite. So let's see what we can find for Tyrese. Fuck, I realized I did it again. I wasn't sharing out loud. I was sharing the wrong screen. My bad. I'm just going to keep it on outline now. So Tyrese Halliburton, his first quarter assist prop, 3.5. So he's cashed this in 4 out of his last 5 games. In this series, he's gone 3, 4, and 5. No surprise, the games where the Pacers won, he nailed this assist line. It's at plus money, plus 124. So I do like it. I did like his assist in the last matchup, but again, it was one of those plays I chose not to take, and it came home with ease. So we're not going to make that mistake and trust our gut on this one. What are the reasons why Tyrese Halliburton can't hit this line? Yeah, it's like if the Bucks defense is crazy, if he gets himself into foul trouble, which he doesn't play too much defense, so I can't see that happening. The other risk is if he goes off to score a lot of points, but he's clearly a pass-first type of point guard, and we're seeing it in this playoffs. Throughout the regular season, he's only covered in 3 of his last 8, though. So 2.5 would have been money because that's 100% hit rate, but the odds would be ass for that. But at 3.5, he's hit it in his last 2. Pacers are at home. Offense should be good. Miles Turner's his main target. I don't mind that. So I'll put that on my list of things. His total assist line, 11.5, and it's minus 111. Oh, no, it's plus 105. Okay, so we're getting plus money for him to get 12 assists. So very similar to his first quarter assist prop, the trends. Under in the first game, cash in his last 2. 76ers as 10-point favorites. I'm just interested to see in games where the Pacers, in games where the Pacers win by more than 10, what does his assist prop look like? So they beat the Bucks by more than 10 on 2 occasions. He had 12 assists in both of those games. If we look at his last 20 games where they've won by more than 10, he's cashed in only 9 of his last 20. So I think that's the ultimate concern, but let's fuck this filter off. I haven't had too much success with it anyway. All right, so he's cashed this line in 4 of his last 5, 2 of his last 3 in the playoffs. Had a lot of minutes in that last game, but he cashed his assist line easily into that game. Do we think he can do it again for the 3rd consecutive game? Like, absolutely. This is Tyrese Halliburton, and the Pacers are running well. I'm going to tell you, I don't love the assist prop now. The more I think about it, just looking at his last 10, I think the first quarter assists I can fuck with, but the total assists are probably, I'm not feeling it. And I don't know why. I'm just not feeling it. His points line's at 16.5. So he scored 18 points in that last game. Needed 46 minutes to do it. 22 shots. So very aggressive for Tyrese Halliburton. 36% from the field's not good. 1 from 12 from downtown. So if this was anybody else, if this was somebody who like is a scorer, I would take the over for sure. We did it with Kristaps Porzingis, who shot terribly, backed him for a bounce back game. Tyrese Halliburton shooting 1 from 12 from downtown. I don't know how he's going to respond with that. He might come into this next game and be like, I'm just not going to shoot it, right? Lean more to the assist prop, to be honest. So I don't think he has the type of mentality to go out there and take another 12 3-pointers. So he might not be as aggressive scoring the ball. And with no Dame on the floor, if anything, the Bucks probably improved defensively. So yeah, I think I've talked myself back into the Halliburton assist prop here. I don't think he's going to be as aggressive trying to score after such a poor shooting night. But it could be. Let's see. Rebound wise, his line's at 5.5. So far this series, 7, 4, and 5 rebounds for Halliburton. In head-to-head matchups, he's cashed in 5 out of his last 8. The line's at 5.5, and it is plus money. Now, the one thing about this Bucks offense without Dame, it's probably going to stall a lot more, meaning there's probably a lot more rebound opportunities to go around. So the rebound play here for Tyrese Halliburton might not be such a bad one. The other angle we could look at is rebounds plus assists. 16.5. And I get he's only cashed this once so far in this series. Yeah, but now I'm thinking the pace could be high. But no, the Bucks offense should suck in this game. I'm just thinking about it now. Where are they going to score? They've got Middleton and Bobby Portis, maybe Brook Lopez, but Middleton and Bobby Portis, if the offense stalls, it could be rebound opportunities. But Tyrese Halliburton is a point guard after all. So yeah, I'm not going to take a point guard for a rebounding prop. And he might do it, might kill it, but I'm not willing to take that play. Who else do you have of interest? I'm curious to see. I like Miles Turner. I have him as a lean for his. I've had him for a lean for his points prop in every game this series. So let's take a look at it. Let's look at his first quarter points prop. 5.5. He's cashed out in 1 of 3 games so far this series. So we don't love that. He's done it well against the Bucks. 7 from his last 11, but he's only hit it in 1 of the 3. Minutes are okay. Points wise, his line's up to 20.5 though. 17, 22, and 29. So with Dame out of the lineup, the Bucks don't lose anything defensively, right? So Turner pretty much up against the same type of bullshit he'd been dealing with. Now he did take 21 shots in that game, so he was aggressive. 17, 15, and 21. 60% and 48% from the field in the games that he's covered. This season, he's shooting 52% from the field. So if he can get that type of volume, if he's shooting 50% from the field, we need him to take at least 18 shots in this game because he's going to take a lot of threes and he's going to make a lot of threes and he has the opportunity to get to the free throw line as well. So Miles Turner 3-pointers, where's that at? 2.5 threes for plus money, and he's cashed that in 4 straight games. He's cashed it in all 3 games so far in the playoffs against the Bucks. He's cashed it somewhat, but I think the points play might be a better one here for Miles Turner. And I'm not just looking at the fact that he scored 29 in the last game. The fact that he scored 29 doesn't concern me. It's the volume, right? I think he needs about 18 shots to cover this line. Probably less. He could do it in less because a lot of his shots are threes. If he's making 3 3-pointers and a couple of free throws, he probably needs to take 16 to 17 shots and he can cover this line. This game, where he shot 29% from the field, clearly an outlier. All of these other games, there's a 33% here, which is terrible against the Lakers. But 60, 55, 50, 60, 55, 76, down to 29, 60 to 48. So last 2 games, you could say his field goal percentage has just bounced back to where it normally is. So if we get his field goal percentage at a normal rate in this upcoming game against the Bucks, I think this points line can cash because I think the aggressiveness is going to be there. That could be a good play. Looking at his rebounds, where's his rebounds at? It's 8.5 still. Had 9 boards in that last game. I'm not loving the rebound plays here for Miles Turner. Still defending Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is going to be as far away from the ring as you can possibly believe because he doesn't want to get a chance to get boards. Quick look at Pascal Siakam. I'm not going to bet Pascal, but for you guys, if you're watching this, I wanted to show it to you. So his points line is at 25.5, 36, 37 to 17 in that last game. Shot the ball 17 times, but his percentages were down. So I don't know if there was a switch up to the scheme there, but yeah, I'm still not loving the Siakam at 25.5. I think that's too high. His assist prop was one of the leans I had in the last game. It did cash, but he only finished on 4, so it didn't cash with ease. The line is still at 3.5. So yeah, Pascal, I'm still very hesitant to bet on. The other one that I was a bit aroused by is Obi Toppin. Check it out. Let's check out my man Obi. Failed to bet on him last time. Let's see what's happened. So his points line's at 7.5. He's cashed this in 2 out of the 3 games. Still seeing limited minutes though, but when he gets on, my boy shoots. So 11 shots in his last 2 games. And in those games, 20 and 17 minutes. So the volume is very good for such limited time. He shot 36% in the second game and still cashed this line. 55% in the most recent game and absolutely obliterated it. Shooting a lot of threes. Half of his shots are 3-pointers actually in the first game, and then 33% in the second game. If we look on the season, let's check out Obi Toppin. He shoots 41% from 3 this season, which is pretty good. A lot of wide open shots here for Obi Toppin. So yeah, I'm not minding the points prop here for Obi Toppin. I think that's a good look. I think we should really get some value play happening here on Obi Toppin too. So I like his points. His rebound prop, I do like that 2 at 4.5. So he's cashed this rebound prop 6 out of his last 8 games against the Milwaukee Bucks. So the main playoffs, last 3 games, 5, 8, and 6, and you can still get this for plus money. So I like that too. So I might even run his points plus rebounds, perhaps. Actually, I'll probably just take his rebounds because I think this Bucks offense is going to stifle. I might just take Obi Toppin's rebounds as a straight bet and then put his points in as a value play because I think he's capable of more than 7.5 points. I might take him for 10 points, Obi Toppin for 10 points and 5 rebounds. We should get some good odds out of that. What's his assists look like? Hasn't got any assists in this series. Fair enough. 3-point lines at 1.5. I'm not game enough to do that. All right, cool. So there's the Obi Toppin thoughts. And yeah, there's no one else that I'd honestly be keen on betting on. The other guys have probably had just one good game. So let's jump into the last one as the clock ticks on. But we're talking through a possible elimination game here. Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Phoenix Suns. We've got Grayson Allen as a game time decision. Minnesota are 2-point favorites. The total's at 210. So I was expecting a bounce back in the last game from the Phoenix Suns, which did not happen. The Timberwolves smacked them around once again, which is why my bets in that game lost. So I read the game script wrong. Well, the players didn't read the same script that I had, and it blew up in my face. So I don't know. Do I put the argument there of Phoenix playing better away, or do they do what the Lakers did today and finally win a game? I'm not too sure. But let's check the box score in that last game. All right. So in that last game, this is the T-Wolves first. We took Carl Anthony. Actually, I don't know if I shared it on the stream, but I took Carl Anthony Towns overs in points. 18 points he cashed. Line was at 16.5. He also had 13 rebounds, which is huge. He still had a bit of foul trouble to work through as well. So strong game from Cat. Rudy, another strong game, 19 points, 14 boards. He's been scoring quite well this series, so his prop could be a bet that we look at. And Anthony Edwards, massive game, 36 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. So he was someone, again, that was another lean. I was leaning on his rebounds and assists, and I didn't take it. Mike Conley had a good game, 15 points, 7 assists, covered both of his lines. I actually took an under in Mike Conley because I expected the Suns to be better, and they suck ass. So I just don't think they're capable of that. Even Naz Reid off the bench was strong with 13 points. And Nikhil Alexander-Walker was great off the bench with 16 points of his own. 4 from 10 3-pointers. So he was scorching. Heading into the Suns, what do we see there? Kevin Durant, 25 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. He went under his points line, so that was disappointing. Bradley Beal had a strong showing. 28 points, 6 from 11 from deep, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Devin Booker went under his points line as well and had 8 assists in a loss. Outside of that, they got nothing. They had nothing. Nurkic was ass, so I might just look at taking his whole PRA under, to be honest, because Rudy's got his number by the looks of it. But let's jump back into Outlier. Make sure I share the right tab. All right, we're back into Outlier, and now we'll start dissecting this game, shall we? We'll start with Rudy. So Rudy's been great, scoring the ball and that. Check this out. This is his last 5 games. Let's just do his points prop. 13.5 points for Rudy. Piss easy. 5 straight games. And against the Suns, he's covered in 4 consecutive games now. They can't stop him. He doesn't shoot the ball that much, but he'd be dunking everything and making 82% of his free throws. It's the same trend. He just can't be stopped in there. So Rudy points. I was already thinking this whilst this going on. I was like, why don't I just take Rudy's points? He's too damn good. Now his rebound line, I'm not going to take it. He crushed it in the last one, but I had a lot of reasons to bet the under, and those reasons still exist. So I'd be a little bit hesitant to take Rudy over boards, but he has cashed in 2 out of the 3 games this series. Who else is there? So these are all the players that have cashed in the last 5. Thank you, Outlier, for filtering that out for me. And obviously, there are the unders on Devin Booker. So Devin Booker's been ass. We'll start with his points prop, 24.5. The under is cash in these last 5 games, 21, 23, 18, 20, then 23 in that last game. Volume. I keep talking about the volume for Devin Booker. It's not there. The guy that scored 71 points does not exist. Booker should be trying to get at least 25 shots up, but he can't seem to get them off on this Minnesota defense. I'm not man enough to take the under here on Devin Booker, even though all the data points to an under. I just know what he's capable of. But look, this could be the last Phoenix Suns game of the year. And if Devin Booker doesn't put up some shots, then that's his fucking problem. So I'm not betting on Devin Booker in this game, but I want to show you the lines. Assists is 6.5. He's cashing 1 of 3 games this series. 8 assists in that very last game. But yeah, nah. His rebound line, it was 4.5 before in the last game. I know that because I bet it. Now it's down to 3.5, but you can get some pretty. It's at -113 if you take the under. Now the under is cash in 3 straight games against the Timberwolves, but yeah, 4 boards. It's quite a low line. You have to be brave to take that. Even Lopez at 5.5, I felt like a crazy bastard. So 3.5 for D Book. I'm not there, but I think the under on his PRA is a good look. I'm just not willing to take it. What else is there? Kevin Durant under in his rebounds and assists. Under 10.5. It's cash in 5 straight games. It's cash in 3 straight games in this series, 8, 8, and 9. In head-to-head matchups, it's cashed in 4 straight games against the Timberwolves. In 2 other games this year, though, he has gone over 6 and 6 in both of those games, but his last 4 have been dreadful, cashing with ease. And yeah, I don't know. Back up against the wall. No excuses after this loss. I'm just not prepared to fade many of these Suns players. I say many because I'm most likely going to fade this Turkish asshole, Yusuf Nurkic. Just looking at his PRA, I keep betting his assists. I've bet his assists twice now with no success. And look, I can't blame him. I'm the one putting the bets down, I guess. All right. His PRA, 21.5 PRA for Yusuf Nurkic. He's hit this in 1 of the 3 games in this series, but absolutely smoked in the last one and in the first one. There could be a bounce back here. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to bet the under here. Even though I think it goes under, I'm not going to bet it. In head-to-head matchups, he's cashed the under in 4 of his last 6. So he's gone over in 2 of the 6 games. So the potential for him to go over is there. Minutes were a little bit down in that last one. But if you're getting dominated by Rudy, what else can you do, right? So, yeah, he's had a strong game. And that one game's enough to scare me off because I don't know how he's going to respond. I don't know how any of these Suns are going to respond. So there was a lot of people back in Denver today to get the sweep on the Lakers and do what they have been doing for years, but that did not happen. So, yeah, I'm not willing to fade a lot of these Suns players despite the numbers telling me to. But let's go player by player and let's see what we got. We got Karl Anthony Towns. Let's see where his lines are at. So I took his points prop last time. I wonder how much that has moved by. 17.5. So it's probably moved by 1 point. It could move a little bit higher, closer to. He's cashed this in 2 of 5 games against the Phoenix, 2 of his last 5, sorry. Against the Phoenix Suns, he's cashed in 5 out of his last 8. So this is another road game, and I know someone brought it up in the last video, so I want to share it with you all. Check out his road games this season. On the road this season, he's cashed this line of 17.5 points in 27 of 31 games, which is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And if we look at his total games on the season, 47 of 65. So he's hit better on the road than it is at home, believe it or not. So Karl Anthony Towns, if you want to run that back to go over his points prop, sure, take a look at it. His minutes are still quite low, 23 minutes, but he took 16 shots in 23 minutes, so he was aggressive as hell. 3 from 5 from deep. Didn't get to the free throw line as much as he did in the prior games, but I wonder what the new Karl Anthony Towns actually, because I don't know if this is a minutes restriction or if he's too aggressive and it's a whole lot of foul trouble. Karl Anthony Towns, let's do a little bit of Googling. Let me share this tab with y'all. Could return from knee injury. That was 4 weeks ago. This is an interesting one. Why Karl Anthony Towns' knee injury was a blessing in disguise for the Timberwolves offense. Anthony Edwards is a beast. What did Edwards say? I got to log in. I ain't logging into this shit. No. All right, let me get the hell out of that. Let's go back to Outlier. All right, so I don't mind the Towns. I probably just don't love it. I'm already looking at Rudy Gobert over in points. The cat thing, you're somewhat dependent on his shooting percentages as well. So his hit rate is great, though. Not going to lie. His rebound prop, though, where's that? 7.5. So he's cashed that in 2 of the 3 games against Phoenix. So he's gone 7, 8, and then 13 in that last game. He was an absolute monster. And look, if Rudy has a slow game getting some boards, then my man Cat probably going to get a lot more of them. In head-to-head matchups, he's covered his rebound line in 5 out of his last 8 games against the Suns. But minutes is the main concern for me. If he's only going to play 23 minutes, I don't know if I could take this rebound line with confidence. So, yeah, I'm going to pass on Cat's rebounds. I think it's a good play, but, yeah, his minutes is a worry for me. Let's have a look at Anthony Edwards. So this man's coming alive in the playoffs. Has had 1 bad game, but been pretty beastly throughout. His PRA is at 38.5. He's catch this with ease in 2 of the 3 games. 33, 9, and 6. Then he had a shocking game, 15, 5, and 8. And then he was a beast again, 36, 9, and 5, just covering everything. So Ant Edwards, what are we looking at here? Let's look at his points prop first. 26.5, 2 out of the 3 games he's cashed in. Minutes are going to be there for him. Field goal attempts are there when he's on. 3-pointers, not necessarily shooting the best at the moment, but he's doing a great job getting to the line, especially when things are getting chippy. Anthony Edwards up for the moment. Now, yeah, I would lean to the over on this. He's actually covered this line in 51% of games this season, so definitely capable of it. In head-to-head matches against Phoenix, yeah, this is what he does. 30-point games or 15-point games by the looks of it for Anthony Edwards. In an elimination closeout opportunity, my guess is that he goes off, but you wouldn't be tailing picks if I was just guessing. So my lean is the over. I'm not going to bet it. I don't have the confidence to bet on Anthony Edwards points props at the moment. But what I am willing to entertain another time around is his rebounds plus assists. Now it's gone up. It was at 10.5 last time I looked at it, like in the last game. It's now 11.5, but this is now cash in all 3 games so far this series. The 11.5, and I'm not going to be a jackass about it. I'm just going to take it this time because it's too good to be true. The minutes are there. Great rebounder, creating on offense, especially after scoring 36 points. I feel like he could have a big assist game in this one, to be honest. If his line's at 5.5, that might be an even better play. It is at 5.5, and it's plus money. So did only have 5 assists in that last game, but keep in mind, he got to the line 11 times. He scored 36 points. I think the Suns will be trying to clamp his ass up and getting that ball out of his hands. So he could be creating for others here. That's all I'm saying. But I'll stick to the rebounds and assists. But I think from that, the rebounds and assists, the assist prop, probably the one I'm most confident in. See a bounce back. Similar to how we got these 8 assists in the game prior. He got 8 assists because in the first game he scored 30-something points. Then he didn't score much and started creating. So we could see that type of adjustment again, where Anthony Edwards becomes a diming machine. So rebounds and assists for Ant Edwards, I'm going on. If you don't have access to that prop, I think the assist prop is the way to go. Who else do we have that we haven't necessarily gone through? Let's go through Kevin Durant. KD, Father Time, is catching up to him. So his points line's at 25.5. He scored 31 points in game 1, 18, and then 25 the 2 games after. The minutes are definitely there. The shot attempts aren't as high as you would expect for someone like Kevin Durant. But watching these Minnesota Timberwolves play defense, they make it difficult to get your shots off. His free throws, he's getting to the line, he's making them at a high rate. 3-pointers barely they're non-existent here for KD. Yeah, look, facing elimination, I'll probably lean to the over here for KD. But yeah, this Suns team's been disappointing as hell. His assists, 3.5 to the line, 1, 2, and then 5 assists in that last game. Rebounds, 6.5, 7, 6, and then 4. So rebounds trending down for Kevin Durant, only cashing this line in 1 of 5. So the under's at minus 118 though. Yeah, pretty good hit rate here in his last 5. And against the Timberwolves, 5 out of his last 7 games, he's gone under this rebound line. But did finish on 6 3 times. So you'd have to be brave to take that play. Yeah, so for KD, not necessarily feeling it. And then we've got Bradley Beal, who had a pretty strong scoring game, but his games against Minnesota are inconsistent as hell. Let me show you. Firstly, his points props at 18.5 points. He's cashed this in 2 or 5 games. The other 3 games, he went under 15 points. So he's getting minutes. He just shot the ball a heap, and he made them, to be honest. Made a lot of 3-pointers. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that. His assist prop at 5.5, he only had 4 assists. Makes sense. Scored a shit ton of points, which I didn't expect. So tough to get a read on Bradley Beal, and his rebound line's at 4.5. He's cashed in one of 5 games against the Timberwolves. So not necessarily rebounding very well here, Bradley Beal. Now, I wouldn't take the under because he does finish on 4 quite a bit, so that would be very stressful. It is plus money for the under though, which has cash on 61% of games this year. But facing elimination, Bradley Beal could get close to 40 minutes in this game. So as you can probably tell, I'm not loving this game too much to bet on, but I'll still probably get 2 bets down. I do like Rudy's points overs and Anthony Edwards rebounds plus assists. I think those 2 are great plays. I'll just do some line shopping and see what I end up with. Look, gang, I hope you liked the video today. I apologize if I was sharing the wrong damn screen for too long, but I'm still trying to figure it out with these multiple screen type of bullshit. I'm old as hell, so technology is not necessarily my friend. But the last thing, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what the hell are you doing? I just checked the stats not too long ago. I think 58% of people who watch this video are not subscribed. Now, if you're here to get insights to help you make the best decision possible, you've got to sub to the channel. So hit the like button, comment below, give me your thoughts, interact with me because you know I'll be responding. Best of luck with this upcoming slate. Let's make it 2 winning days in a row. Let's go.
Up to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.